Hi, I'm Little Boots, and I'm here to talk about my new album, Nocturnes. This album I've been writing since 2010 when we stopped touring. We played Coachella, and then that was kind of it on the live front, so I got into the studio again. And I mean, it was difficult after the first album and all this craziness happening, going from, you know, dreaming about being a musician to actually doing it and going all over the world and playing these shows. It was crazy to come home again and then just be told, write a bunch of more songs. I wrote a lot of the songs all over the world with lots of different writers, and then Tim Goldsworthy produced the whole album. So we kind of sat down together in Bristol in his amazing studio, which is just like a mad scientist laboratory. It's full of all this awesome analog gear and wires coming out of every hole, and there's just keyboards, you know, everywhere that you can fit one. And just got busy really, spent 6 weeks locked down and recorded all the songs. It was brilliant to just get that cohesion and that focus and get that one sound and atmosphere of everything's been recorded in the same room with the same people, drinking the same tea bags, like, you know, talking the same crap every day and on the same instruments. And I think you can really feel that, and that was really important to me this time around. Yeah, I wanted to get a real atmosphere in the record, like so many of the classic albums that I love. I got that feeling of, you know, you almost could be there in the room or there in the headspace of those people and those sounds. You know, I really wanted to make a credible record that it wasn't just a pop record. It's, you know, we did everything on analog synths, because so many people now are just making music in their bedroom and getting the latest soft synths, download it, bish bash bosh, you've got a dance tune, there you go. And I'm not saying that's bad, and there's probably some great songs that are made like that, but it's kind of making the same sounds are really ubiquitous, and some of them just sound a bit kind of cheap to me, so it was really important to do it all. Like, Tim has got this encyclopedic knowledge of, you know, music and sounds, and feel high quality and take care on the sounds, not just throw that clapping, because that's the clap that everyone uses, you know, from Britney Spears producers to like the guy in his bedroom. Like, no, let's get a really cool clap, or let's put a really weird echo through a radio and a tape machine on that, and, you know, like, try and do those things and push those boundaries. Broken Record is, I mean, the first song that I got known for. It's called Stuck on Repeat, and I kind of wanted to do a cheeky part 2 to that song, and it's actually got some lyrics that reference that song, because I kind of love a lot of my old favourite artists like Blondie, and people would do self-referential, like, you know, name drop Atomic and another song, and I love that. But, you know, on the surface it's a very simple song about someone getting a guy's voice stuck in their head and it's driving them crazy. But I think on another level, to me, it was kind of a comment on pop songwriting and the songwriting process and how you structure songs, and this pleasure in repetition, and how, you know, a great pop song, you want to just keep playing it and you don't want it to get out of your head. And it was kind of all these ideas about repetition and devices in songwriting that can sometimes seem a bit almost evil, but they're also brilliant. If you look at it deeply, it's kind of a comment on that, or you can just take it as like, this is a fun song about someone driving somebody else crazy. There's always new things coming out with music and technology, and I've always been interested in them, and making electronic music visual. And, you know, when you're watching a guitar band, they're doing a big solo, or it's a rapper, you know, they've got their attitude, and it's quite easily visual. Whereas for a lot of electronic artists, like, a lot of it is about, you know, doing visuals and lights and things on screens, because if you're just stood there with a keyboard or a programmer, you could be doing anything, you know. I saw Kraftwerk last week and it was incredible, but for all I know, they could have been texting each other on their keyboards. I'm really sure they weren't. I hope they weren't. So I'm always looking up ways that you can, when you're watching a performance, you can link the sound to what you're seeing, and there's so much new technology and people doing interesting things. It's just finding the ones that will practically work for a live show and a live artist, and the unpredictability that is, you know, a live performance. This record, the new album in particular, really feels like people are getting it over here and they really relate to it. Maybe it's because it's got this kind of disco influence, which is kind of from New York, and the Chicago house influence from Chicago. So all these, like, you know, American, like, dance, historical kind of dance music references that maybe people have grown up with that history and they're really keying into some of the inspirations of the record. So that's really nice that people seem to be understanding it. I mean, America is always super fun to play live, and I have my dream of getting like the giant American tour bus, which looks a bit like a cross between a diner and a monster truck, which is exactly what I imagined it to look like, and it did. Hi, I'm Little Boots. Look for me on Last.fm.